Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is Paul Flynn, midgoodfilms.org for the 20th of November, 2015. Just want to report on an article there from the Christian Institute about Irish parents banned from smacking their own children. Now, I'd heard, for those who are not aware, who follow Me Get a Films, Me Get a Radio, I do live in Ireland. I live near the border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. And I work in Dublin, and sometimes on the way to work, I would hear some of the debates that would be going on. Well, some of the debates. And even though I find Irish radio really, really hard to listen to, but be that as it may, about this subject about banning, a complete and utter ban on any physical chastisement upon a child. Now, not surprised by this at all, sadly, and actually Ireland was one of the few countries in Europe that continue to allow this to continue. This is just another, this is the common direction the state has been going in for quite some time. Now, Ireland has never been, at least not for a very long time, at least, officially a Christian nation, acknowledging Christ as head of state. But at least not since the time of Patrick and many of the missionaries that Ireland used to send out prior to Rome conquering Ireland using the British Army, and that was around the 12th century, but that's another issue. Now, I don't know where to start this, because you know what the sad thing is, right? I don't think a lot of Christians are going to care about this. That might sound harsh, because I don't know how many parents, Christian parents especially, or any parents, actually discipline their children, actually correct them, chastise them. What this does, the Children First bill, which should be called Anarchy in the Home First bill, which allows the children to do whatever they want. They can see, here's the thing. You let a child unchastised do whatever they want. They will be given over to the tyranny of their own desires. How will you appease them? Oh, you will bribe them with sweets, with whatever they want. And they will dictate everything. And they will rule in the home. The children will rule in the home. And it's a judgment of God upon that home. The children will rule, and the wife will rule over her husband. This is seen in how many countries around the world? Especially if you go to traditional Roman Catholic countries, you see women ruling in the home and children just doing whatever they want. And here's the thing, they are miserable. A lot of the social workers and the public health nurses and all this kind of stuff, all this stuff that the state offers you makes it look like it's wonderful, but really they're there to monitor you. It splits apart the family, and it makes the children subjects of the state. They're no longer your children. They belong to the state. In this article, it reads, parents in the Republic of Ireland may fall foul of the law by smacking their children. I don't know if there's many of them, actually, will fall foul of the law. If you observe most of the ones who are dead against spanking, you will see, show me a home where they say, I don't believe in spanking, and you will see anarchy in that home. The Bible tells us, if you look at a number of verses from Proverbs, not going to look at all of them, but Proverbs 13:24, it says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, and he that loveth him chasteneth betimes. Proverbs 22, verse 15 reads, foolishness is bound up in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. And if you hear, here's the thing, right? Parents now get two major things wrong. They think that their children, number one, are so smart They're not. They have lots of potential to learn things, and they will learn incredibly fast. But they don't. They don't know anything. They need to be taught. So if you follow your children and you allow them to lead, you are admitting you're a fool. What else could it mean? You are allowing somebody with no knowledge, no wisdom, no experience of this world to lead you around. And men are shameful in this day because they just allow it to happen. And sadly, I'm talking about in the church as well. I mean, men are told, like all the roles have been taken from men. They've been told, basically, they can't be the father anymore because they can't be head at home. That is not equality anymore. That's subjugation. And I don't believe in tyranny in the home or anything like that. Lead your home, not drag your home, not drag your wife. Lead your wife lovingly. And the men end up with the zero role, and they allow it to happen, and they don't mind it because ever since the fall of Adam and Eve, the tendency has been, not in everybody, there's variations of it, but the sinful tendency towards men is laziness. And the sinful tendency in women is towards taking and usurping more power, especially power over their own husband. That has been the sinful tendency since the fall of our first parents. The article goes on to say the Children First Bill, which was enacted last week, removes the defense of reasonable chastisement, effectively banning smacking. Writing in the Irish Independent, columnist Ian O'Doherty argued that the Children First Bill was yet another piece of legislation that makes the state against of us all. And to go on to comment, now, the Christian Institute, the spokesman for the Christian Institute, Simon Calvert, warns that responsible parents should not be criminalized for simply disciplining their children. He said parents can tell the difference between a loving smack and physical abuse. That's not necessarily true. You need to be going lovingly by the word of God. And the law needs to be intelligent enough to recognize the same distinction. Parents should have the right to discipline their children, and the defense of reasonable chastisement allow them to do so. Removing it will only serve to criminalize responsible parents who are seeking to do what is best for their children. Mention it is commanded in the Word of God. If you do not discipline your child, you do not love that child. Here's the thing. When you give your child everything that they want, you're really doing it so that they will love you. But here's the thing. They will hate you. They won't love you at all. You give them everything they want, they are absolutely miserable. Sin makes people, children especially, miserable. They get everything they want, and they're not happy. It's not enough. When will people see this? That giving your child, spoiling your child, and withholding correction from them will actually make them miserable. Show me a home where the children are disciplined, and I know plenty of them, and I'll show you a happy home. May not be a perfect home, may not have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, but they will be happy, smiling. I know a couple of families where they discipline their children, may not agree with them theologically, but they are happy homes. The Bible doesn't just put it in there as a suggestion. In the same way as it talks about in Hebrews chapter 12, let me just get it out there, about God, if he does not chastise us, we're not his children. And we, through our actions, are actually we're not parenting them then. We're allowing them to lead. If you look at Proverbs chapter 12, verses 5 to 8, and ye have, verse 6 actually, And for whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards, and not sons. So you're basically disowning your own children. If you love your children, you want them to serve God. You want them to know sweet union and communion with Christ. For them to serve God, one of the commandments is to honor thy father and thy mother. They will not honor their father and their mother if their father and their mother do not teach them the way that they should go, that when they're old, they will not depart from it. Proverbs 22, verse 6. They will not, as Ephesians chapter 6 tells us, they will not obey their parents. It says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, which is the first commandment, with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, and bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. And this is important as well. Fathers, do not break their spirit. We got to break their will. That they believe that they're center of their own universe. That's what we got to do. That they're not the ones in charge. And believe me, when they see this, they will be much happier and will have much more joy, because you, parents, if you're listening to this, will actually be doing your job, and a child will feel safer and more secure if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Your job is not to give your child everything you never had when you were a child. Your child needs correction from what is harmful to him, and your child needs the Word of God. He needs love. You need to give your child lots of love. That way, they will be encouraged in doing the right things, and they will see the consequences of sin. Because if a child is not shown that there is consequences for sin, they will seek it out, and they will not take the admonitions. They will not fear their parents. They do not fear God. May God stir up the parents of this generation, and may God lead us from. Pray for our politicians. The Bible tells us to pray for those who are in authority, that they will enact laws in accordance with the Word of God and cease and desist from rebelling against the Lord, as the Irish government has been doing for quite some time. This has been Paul Flynn. May God bless you all. Talk to you tomorrow at the radio show.